Hi everyone, it's me, Beaticali Sunflower. So I'm on today to do my March reflections. So I'm gonna start off with my dolls, my journals, and then the decks that I received and used in the month of March. So for the month of March, again, I used my 1960s dolls because I was born in the 1960s. I used Tammy. This is her sister called Pepper. And this doll here is a 1960s doll, but it's a cologne. It's a cologne of Tammy and Cindy. And this doll here is called Avaliable Orange. She thinks she's Tammy. My card for the month of March was the Magician. And the theme that I used was mental decluttering. And dolls, in a way, for me, they're kind of soothing because these 1960s dolls take me to a place of my childhood where it was stress-free and no mental kind of clutter. And I kind of brush my doll's hair, change their clothing, pose them. It kind of makes me decrease my clutter because my focus is on the dolls and my childhood memories. In the 1960s and 70s in the UK, it was really hard to get black dolls. So most of my all of my 1960 fashion dolls are Caucasian. So it's Pepper, her big sister Tammy, and this is a 1960 cologne called Avaliable Orange. So before I talk about my decks and my hashtags, let's just go to the bulk of my month. In December, I done the 12 card spread, and the card for the month of March was the Magician. The deck that I used for my 12 card spread was called the Vision Tarot by Angela Tabb. It's a UK indie deck. This is the picture of the Magician card. You can see that there's all the suits. There's the pentacles, the swords, the cups, and the wands. And in the guidebook, skill mastery. What we have the potential to become when we master our thoughts, desires, and actions. The Magician is skilled in manifesting their desires. They are imaginative, creative, and confident. Now, my definition of the Magician is get your shit together. By moving from the planning to the doing, you have the skills, resources, and focus to turn your ideas into reality. So get organized. So it's more about organization, manifestation, action, that sort of stuff. In a yes or no question, the Magician is always yes, because one has the power and resources and willpower to manifest their desired outcome. The crystals associated, this is one of the stones for the Magician. Tiger Eye promotes confidence, willpower, and turning ideas into action. And also the Tiger Eye for me is a good Leo stone. So this is why I chose the Tiger Eye, because it kind of works well for me when I use it in crystal magic. So my goal for the month of March was to align my thoughts, so my spiritual thoughts, with my physical actions to achieve the results that I want. I'll leave this later. This is the books that I got. So let's have a look at the Lenormand cards that I think of Magician energy, because as you know, I also like to read Lenormand cards. I like to mix them with my tarot cards. The Man card, which is card 28. In the modern decks, the Man card is sometimes called partner, or it's just not actually names, but I like to use a traditional name. So the Man card, which is card 28, the Stork, which is card 17, the Fish, which is card 34, and the Snake, which is card 7. So with regard to the Man Lenormand card, this is my own personal opinion, both the Man card and the Magician represent core masculine energy, focused action, and the ability to influence situations. In addition, both cards represent active, assertive, and logical approaches to life rather than passive or emotional ones. Furthermore, that's supposed to be 36. In a 36 grand tableau, Lenormand spread, if the man card is at the central position, so the central position in a grand tableau are positions 14, 15, 22, and 23. I've got quite a lot of typos here, but I know what it means. So if the man card is in any of those positions, or card 28, it can suggest that you're confident and in control. It's very similar to how the magician has mastery over their tools. So that's why I think the card 28 is quite similar to the energy of the magician. Then the Stork card, which is card 17, the Stork and Magician represent active change rather than passive waiting. So they're both kind of action, sort of active cards. The Stork is more about seasonal change, such as migration and improvement, and is often associated with bringing new things to the family nest, childbirth, positive life changes, new opportunities, etc. While the Magician represents using skills and will to create change and acts as a channel to manifest new projects, ideas, or opportunities. So the third Lenormand card that I think has got magician energy is the Fish card, which is card 34. So the Fish and the Magician card, in my opinion, are both about business skills, because the Magician card is the entrepreneur and the Fish card is about, abundance and stuff. So both have the ability to manifest, create, and manage resources to achieve a desired outcome. The Fish represents a flow of cash, money, resources, and prosperity. Similarly, the Magician acts as a channel for manifesting resources, turning potential into tangible results. The Fish often indicates business, trade, and productive activity. The Magician similarly embodies initiative, skills, and taking action to make things happen. Both use manifestation. The Magician uses his tools to manifest his will. The Fish card is a card of multiplicity, ensuring things come to fruition in a practical sense. Both cards suggest being in control of one's resources. The Fish suggests having the means to do what is necessary, which is similar to the Magician having the tools at his disposal. And then the final Lenormand card, which I think also has magician energy, is card 7, which is the Snake. So both the Snake and the Magician are about intellect and have the ability to manipulate situations to get what they want. Both indicate a person who is smart, strategic, and capable of handling complex situations through wit. The Snake is associated with deception and manipulation. Similarly, the Magician can represent someone using their skills and knowledge to control outcomes or influence others. Both cards can represent trickery or trickster figures, someone who is not necessarily evil but is meddlesome, charming, and dangerous to trust blindly. While the Snake can indicate forbidden or secret knowledge, the Magician focuses on applied knowledge and turning skills into reality. So they're the cards that I think are similar. The planet associated with the Magician is Mercury, as it's the planet of communication, intellect, and adaptability. Mercury reflects the Magician's skills in manifestation, resourcefulness, and taking action. And the zodiac cards that the Magician rules are Gemini and Virgo. So, let me tell you about my reflection for the month of the Magician. This is quite a short one because I had a lot of brain fog this month and I'm not too well. So my kind of goal for the Magician month was to clear some of my mental clutter. I had to align my spiritual thoughts with my physical actions, and I achieved this by doing 4 of the following things. So the first thing that I done was played with my dolls. So when I played with my dolls, especially dolls that were around in my childhood, They kind of act as a form of self-therapy and sensory comfort as they take me back to my childhood that was stress-free. Activities like resting, styling and posing my dolls encourage mindfulness, which allowed me to focus on the present moment and temporarily detach myself from overwhelming thoughts. The second thing that I done to clear my mental clutter was daily meditations. So I chanted Gonyo as a daily meditation to release any doubts, fear and limited beliefs I was feeling. So Gonyo is the SGI Buddhist chant, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and then there's a Gonyo that we like a Gonyo sort of prayer. And then I also done mindfulness classes. So I attended 2 mindfulness classes at my local gym to practice breath work for release. So when I inhale, I feel confident and at peace. And when I exhale, it's like I'm releasing all that negative tension. So yeah, so they do a couple of classes a week at my local gym. So I was lucky to be able to book myself onto those courses. Then the fourth thing that I done to clear my mental clutter, I forced myself to do 2 hashtags. So the hashtags that I'd done was, the first one was the best mass market decks readers must have, and that was created by Nova Mundi Tarot, and it was 11 questions. And the second one that I done was a video response called Small Decks, Small Decks, Large Decks, Square Decks, Round Decks, Unusual Shaped Decks. And I think I added playing cards into that. And that was a VR to Liz at Star Tarot. I'm not sure if Liz has seen that because she hasn't commented on that hashtag. So they're the 2 hashtags that I done. And the actual preparing for these hashtag or video responses and the recording actually reduced my cognitive load and my anxiety, as because in order for me to complete the hashtags, I had to select, categorize, organize and retrieve my decks which I wanted to use. So to conclude, my magician month was very productive. I managed to clear a couple of my mental clutters and stuff, so it was quite productive. And also when I was doing my daily meditations, I also kind of had my stone, tiger eye crystal I should say, in my hand, as I was kind of chanting and stuff. Okay, so let's have a look at the decks that I received in the month of March. So the first deck, so I've done it into like Kickstarter and Amazon ones. So for the Kickstarter deck, I received the Luminous Flow. This was a Kickstarter by Ethony, Dawn. It was £48 and 3 pence. That included the delivery. So the actual deck was 64 Canadian dollars, which is £34 and 93 pence. Shipping was 24 Canadian dollars, which is £13.10. And then together, combined, it was roughly around £48 and 3 pence. I actually received this on the 2nd of March, but I actually paid for it well in advance. But, I just put it when it was received. And I'm going to come back to this because I actually used this deck for the month of March. So the second Kickstarter deck that I received in the month of March was called the Greenwood Tarot by Mark Ryan and Chelsea Potter. It actually cost £75 including shipping, so it was £70 for the deck and £5 for the shipping, and I received it on the 25th of March. But I actually bought this deck last year in Kickstarter, so it didn't actually break my pocket this month. So this deck came with like a plastic bookmark, and it's got the Greenwood Tarot on there, and it came with a kind of wooden pen. It's got the Greenwood Tarot there. Sorry about that. My phone, my daughter called me and it cut out the book that I was showing you. But it also came with the deck, which came in this nice canvas kind of bag, and the box. The cards that I got were the matte finish cards. These are the backs. So this is the replica really of the original kind of deck. But it's an alright deck. I haven't used it yet. I just put them in order. It's the High Priestess, the Empress. The green man is the Emperor. The Ancestor will be the Hierophant. They're not numbered either, but you know, they're quite self-explanatory. The Lovers. The Chariot, and so on and so forth. Strength. So these are my two Kickstarter decks that I received in the month of March. So for my, let's go to my books first of all. So I got one book. Let me show my book. No, two books, sorry. The first book that I got is this one. I received it on the 18th of March and it was £10.99. And it's called My Name Is Mahtob. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. It's by Mahtob Mahmoodi, and it's a story that began as in the global phenomenon Not Without My Daughter continues. Okay, so I think it was in the 80s or early 90s that I read her mother's book, Betty Mahmood, you know, Not Without My Daughter. It was about an American woman that had married a man that was originally from Iran, and he kind of tricked her into going to Iran for 2 weeks. And when they got to Iran, and it was time to go home, he said that she's not going, and she has to stay in Iran. And apparently he had lost his job and stuff like that. And it was quite hard for the mother to adjust because it was quite a strong kind of Muslim country. She had to cover up, and it just wasn't, she was just struggling with the culture. You know, he was quite violent to her and all this, that and the other. And she escaped. I think she was there for about 18 months to 2 years. I can't remember exactly, like it's been quite a while since I read the book. But she escaped with her daughter, who is Mahtob, underground, you know, via Turkey, I think it was, to get back to the States. So this is the daughter's recollection of the story. I enjoyed the mother's book, so that's why I bought the daughter's story. And I think the father as well also wrote a book called Lost Without My Daughter, and he gave his version of the story too. So I'm looking forward to reading this book. So the next book, I think I received it on the 12th of March. This book was on pre-order. It's by Jill Dawson. I haven't actually read it, but it's a hard book. Pages remind me of the Lily backs on the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And it just lists the other books that the author's written. For Poppy and Grace, A Wedding Present. I haven't read it yet, but it talks about each of the major arcanas. So I'm guessing that it's probably a story for each of the suits, but I haven't read it, so I wouldn't know. I might even review this book once I've read it. This is Jill Dawson. Is the author of 11 novels and 1 poetry collection, and is the editor of 6 anthologies of poetry and stories. She is a fellow of the Royal Society of Literature and has been a Costa judge and has taught creative writing in many different settings. She lives in Cambridgeshire. Oh, she's based in the UK. So I'm just assuming that it gives a story for each of the major arcana, but I might review the book once I've read it. Okay, so let's have a look at the tarot decks that I received. So the first deck that I received in the month of March is this one here. It's the Couture Tarot. It was £26.15 and I received it on the 6th of March. Sometimes Amazon UK sells decks from Amazon.com, like the American Amazon, and you don't pay the shipping charges and all the extra charges. So that's how I got this deck. I think I've seen it on a couple of YouTubers' channels, and I thought, oh, that's a nice deck, and so I bought it. It's got a lift-off box. It's got the nice colour guidebook. This deck reminds me of another deck that I've got, and I can't remember the name of it. It's kind of wacky collage. It's got gold edges. Just take off, show you some of the few cards. So these are the backs of the cards. It looks like money. So you've got the Fool, Magician, the High Priestess. It's just a very quirky deck. I love it. Haven't used it yet. Haven't done the interview spread either. But I will probably use this deck at some point in the summer. And I might pair it up with the other deck that I told you it's quite similar to. And I can't remember the name of it. So this is the Couture Tarot. So this is the Chimera Tarot. I had this deck on pre-order and it was £21.85 and I received it on the 12th of March. I actually used this deck in one of my hashtags by Wiser Books. I guess this is going to be a shadow deck. I haven't actually done the interview spread yet, so I don't know what kind of deck it will be. It might even be an inner child deck, I don't know. But it's faces. Sepia, which I like. And I'm probably going to match it up with another sepia tarot deck when I get round to using it. Sepia decks, I don't mind using all year round. But I'm probably going to use this deck in the autumn, if I'm honest. Or even, I might even use it around Halloween. It depends how I feel and if I get to do the interview spread. But I haven't used it. I've put it in order. I've shuffled it, but I'm yet to work with it. Look at the backs of the decks. It's beautiful. Look at the Hermit card. It's like a padlock. So I bought an oracle. This was called the Soul Mirror Oracle, See Yourself. And I received it on the 15th of March. It's mass market. It's not even new. It was £18.35. And it's a Blue Angel publishing deck. I do like Blue Angel decks there. I like their cardstock and stuff. Look at the kind of artwork of this deck. I think it's beautiful. There's the back of the cards. It's just nice. I love her afro in the background. I love her nose and her lips. This deck has been on my wish list for quite a while. Well, ever since it came out, but I just didn't get around to buying it. But it's beautiful. It's kind of melanated as well. I love how the detail and the features. I love the lips and the nose and the eyebrows and the afros. It's just beautiful. And then the guidebook that it comes with, it just gives you an extra layer of text or write-up for each card. And the final deck that I received in the month of March is this one. It's called the Listening Oracle deck. by Jane Rainkamp, and it was £16.05, and I received it on the 19th of March. I'm actually going to unbox this deck in another video because I want to use it with the tarot deck by the same creator. I've been using the tarot deck since the 1st of April, and I'm going to use this deck with it. So I've got quite a lot of decks in cellophane, so I'm going to unbox this one and with you so that I can work with it. I might even unbox this later on today if I've got the energy. Now let's talk about the decks that I worked with. So I worked with 3 decks. The Luminous Flow Tarot, the Sock Monkey Oracle, and this deck. Okay, this is an Ethony. This is an Ethony deck as well. It's quite old. It's called the Lenormand Prince Oracle. It's quite battered. It comes with a little white book. So let me take the cards out. So let's start off with the Sock Oracle. I did show this Oracle deck in my hashtag that I done for Nova. And how I use this deck, I just pulled a card a day and, you know, manifest the meaning. So, and as I keep on saying, I've got quite a lot of chronic illnesses, and sometimes I have low days, sometimes I have good days, and you know, I pulled a card every day and then kind of manifested the meaning for the guidebook. You know, it gave some positive keywords, and then I kind of meditated on the affirmations. So this is a very good deck to use if you're not feeling too great. In fact, I'd even say it's more of a shadow deck, because I do like my shadow decks to be kind of uplifting. So I'd probably use this as a shadow oracle because it really does uplift. You look at this card 45 where it's got victory. Let's pull it down so I can read you the guidebook that goes with it. So card 45. Woohoo! I love that touchdown dance you just choreographed. It is filled with joy, grace and gratitude. You have every right to celebrate despite your own doubt. Frayed pom-poms and a few naysayers along the way. You did it. You climbed mountains, sailed vast oceans and travelled wild rivers, and you achieved your goals completely transformed. Give thanks and take time to review your journey so that you may help others succeed as well. Symbolic frolicles, victory, success, prosperity, profound gratitude, perseverance. Affirmation, I love that I am profoundly grateful for my achievements and all who have helped along the way. So as I said, that this month for me, for the Magician, was about clearing my mental clutter. And this deck really helped because, you know, I had an affirmation each day to kind of think about and uplift me. Now, this is the Prince Oracle. I'm not even quite sure if this deck's in print because I've had it for quite a while. It came with 2 extra cards, which I don't use, which is the crown, and this is like a yoga stuff. But I don't really use the cards unless I'm called to. It's got lovely silver edging. And it's just it's a very clear Lenormand. It's got the playing card associations in it. This is the garden. And I guess, you know, the 8 of Swords. Look at the back, it's beautiful. This is the book, and it's an open book. This is the path. I use this deck, well, this month actually, the most readings that I've done this month, they were all love readings. Yeah, I've done about 3 or 4 readings, and they were all to do with love. I refused a reading this month because the person wanted to know about somebody else's business. You know, her partner had left her and she wanted to know how he was getting on with the new one. And to me, that's a third party reading, which I'm not going to contribute in. But I used it on its own. I used it in conjunction with the next step that I'm going to show you. And I also used it to clarify some points. I also used it on myself because if I had questions about me, this deck gave me the answer. It's kind of whimsy, isn't it, as well? It's just lovely. The woman, the snake. Clear, you know, colourful, really nice deck. Pink as well. And the Luminous Void Tarot really surprised me. I've been using it since the beginning of the month. I'm going to put it back in order. I've used it so much that it's even kind of bowing. I don't know if you can see that. Shuffle the hell out of it. Oops-a-daisy. I guess this deck will be a spring deck in the future, but I wanted to use it because a lot of the times I get new decks and I just put them away and don't really use them. I might interview them and put them away, but this is going to be a spring deck for me. But this deck, it tells the truth. It's really gives predictive readings, you know. I've got a friend that I kind of read for, and she reads me as well. She's a reader. And, you know, we were talking about her new love, and she asked me to describe the person. And the cards gave me a description of the man. And when I said, oh, this, that, and the other, she said, oh, that's quite accurate. It told me what his favourite colours were, just by the colours in the cards. It's a really, really, really good love read. No, it's good for love readings. I mean, I didn't do any career readings this month. I've done a couple of general questions for myself. But I do find general questions quite vague. So I do feel sometimes if you ask a general question, you're going to get a vague answer. But where it was specific questions, this deck was really, really precise. Look at that Justice card. You can say that she's blinded by the bright red, can't you, really? But really good. And then if you look at the cards together with the Lenormand deck, they don't really go per se because they're different cardstock and that, but they actually work well as a team. So, you know, when I was doing like my love readings, if the cards were kind of like ambiguous, I'd use the Lenormand to back it up because I think Lenormand's more predictive than tarot. But they, even though they're different kind of cardstock, this is more matte and the Lenormand cards are gloss. They work really well together. Well, I think so anyway. So, and I find as well that if I just use minimal decks, I find that I get more use out of them than changing them every week. So that's what I think I'm going to be doing this moving forward. This month I'm going to be using 2 decks, the Listening Oracle, which I just showed you, and also its tarot deck. And I will do an unboxing of that deck because I've got to unbox it to use it. So I'll probably do an unboxing of that deck very soon. But look at that, gorgeous. So I recommend this deck. It's predictive. It reads like a book. It gives descriptions. This deck also sparks my intuition. I mean, it might just be the way that it works with me. It might work with somebody else completely different. But for me, it's a really intuitive, chatty kind of deck. And I really enjoyed working with her this month. With the Prince Lenormand Oracle, I do think it's out of print. I haven't seen it around, but this is also a good deck and it's made by Ethony. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And Tammy, Pepper and Al Dill Orange would like to say bye. So see ya.